to Behind the Gate with Scott and Kate. I am Kate, and I'm going to be the host tonight for this podcast. Before we jump in, this is episode 41. So this is huge for us that we are this far along in the podcast. Tonight, I do want to touch base on something that is happening within the Maritimes, as we don't have a sponsor for this podcast yet. So the Mini Ponies, their series are doing a fundraiser. So hit up the Mini Pony drivers to help with their fundraiser. It's to go towards their gathering for the end of the year. Lots of things planned for them. So this fund just helps secure a location and everything else that is needed. And so moving on to the podcast. Tonight we have a young lady that I'm super excited to talk to, and kind of a side that we don't get to talk about very often that she really has a hands-on with. So I'm excited to kind of dive in, pick her brain about everything as well. So welcome, Faith, and joining the podcast, and let's get the questions going.
Hey, hey.
So, can you kind of first tell us a little history about, the Gavin Standardbreds and how it kind of all began?
Okay. Wow. So for us, it started back with my great grandfather. He had very few broodmares, and he raced a little bit, not very much. Um, he wasn't like very big involved, but like he had a couple race horses here and there. And then my grandfather, he was into it like with my great grandfather, but like he never like jumped into it like he did. So like he didn't like continue it. And then so my great grandfather was a very good friends with blacksmith Johnny Doyle from Tignish. Kate, I don't know if you would have known the name, but he was a very successful blacksmith in the western end of the area. He trained and raced as well. So he was a longtime family friend. So he was friends with my great grandfather and my grandfather. And then Johnny then brought my dad into it. He like
Oh,
kind of rekindled the flame of racing to my family. So yeah, so then my dad started going to the races with Johnny. And of course, he fell in love. But my dad's always he's a huge animal lover. Like he we've had a farm like our whole lives kind of thing. So dad got back involved. And then he bought his first racehorse. We got our first two from Robert Gordon, Elm Grove. So we had Elm Grove Desire and Elm Grove Exotic. They weren't very good, but we had a little bit of fun. And Elm Grove Desire was actually the first mare that I've ever like laid hands on. She's the first mare like I groomed. She was super, super sweet. Kind of funny. My mom actually bought her
wow.
at the sale.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah. So yeah, that we had them. And then he further along purchased three more horses, which were Sophie Magic, Sophie Matt, and Magic. We had Magic with Gary Chapel.
Okay.
And yeah, so that's where like our horses were. I mean, you know how this game goes, like everyone kind of jumps around a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
So that's where we started. Yeah, like whatever works, works, right?
Exactly.
So we started there. He had Magic. Magic was a very hot mare. So she got a couple stake wins for us. And what like highlights her for me is on my sixth birthday. She won on my birthday, and ironic enough, Mark Campbell was driving her. Like he was just starting out at that time. Like you know, he was still learning. And when I think like now, I'm like, wow, like that was really a long time ago.
Yeah, it was. When you think
Yeah.
about it that way, yeah.
Yeah. I'm just like, oh
Now
my
you're
gosh.
like smartphone. Yeah, exactly. Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So it's like, yeah. So okay, so we had her. And then Sophie Matt is actually he was a stud that my dad acquired because then like that's when we dove into breeding.
okay.
So we bred, yeah, so Sophie Matt was our first stud. He's from the family of Pearl River Matt, who was a very successful sire in Quebec. And then well, right. So then Proven Lover come on the scene, and you know, he's he's what really like brought us into it. He took us on an incredible ride, and yeah, and now I mean, we race, we breed, we do it all. And then and then I became more involved as well. So I mean, I've had the horse bug since I was little. So but
That's
yeah.
awesome.
And actually I should state this. So Gavin Standardbreds, it wasn't always Gavin Standardbreds. Like we were formerly known as Silver Hill, but then some things changed and then we became Gavin Standardbreds. So
Oh, cool.
yeah.
Very
Yeah. Yeah.
so so you've touched base on a little of Proven Lover. What makes Proven Lover and your other stallion, so Silver Hill Shadow, like outstanding stallions for your breeding side of things?
Um, well, like what's really nice with the two that we have is like we personally got to work with them hands on because like, you know, we race them, like we got to really see their quirks and the personality and like, you know, we were there for like the good times and we got to see it
Right.
all. Like, the thing that is especially like Proven Lover, one of the like I'm not just saying this because he's ours, but like one of the nicest stallions you could ever dream of working with. Like his manners, like just and so tough. Like he grinded week after week after every setback he would have. It's like he just came back stronger and like he literally raced till he couldn't no more. That last start, he should have never raced, but he went out a fighter and he's had a very successful stallion career. So yeah,
That's
yeah,
awesome. I love that. So what quality do you
yeah.
kind of look for within deciding what stallion you're going to use to breed your brood mares?
Um, when it comes to choosing like the stallions, I mean, it's definitely a lot better when you know yourself, like their quirks and their personality, because at the end of the day, that goes a long way. Um, like we took Fearless Diablo a couple of years ago and we brought a handful of mares to him. And like he was a nice horse, but like personality wise, like he was not like ideal to work with. Whereas like my two at home that like we got to race ourselves, it definitely went a long way because we knew everything about them already. And the two like Shadow, Shadow's a very funny horse. He was very headstrong and like for us, we since like Terry Gallant broke and trained him for us, and I remember when he was a 2 year old, he told my dad that Shadow was he was very lazy and like training down, and that kind of laziness is coming through in my 3 year old colt by him. So in a way, it's like it's very like I it helps like reassure that I like he's on the right track because he is showing similar qualities like his dad. Because you know, sometimes people see like a lazy horse
Right.
and they're like, ah, no, like this isn't going to be good. Like he might not be a good one, but it's like for us knowing that this is one of Shadow's qualities, it's a it's a very big help.
Right.
Yeah. So I believe
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've sold a few last year at Harrisburg. Was this your first time in this kind of sale around that kind of atmosphere
Oh
per
yeah.
se?
Yes. So this is actually kind of funny. I mean, I shouldn't say funny. It's full circle. So our first crop of yearlings, Dad bought three brood mares out of Harrisburg way back in 2008. And so then that following year, our first crop of babies sold through Harrisburg. And at that time, I was a kid. Like, we weren't there. Like, honestly, I can't remember who consigned them for us. It was so long ago. But yeah, so our first three ever went to Harrisburg. And then last year, I got to take our four and Twinbrook consigned for us. And it was phenomenal. Like the experience, like I adored it. It was just like it was like for people who don't understand like harness racing, this is how I've described Harrisburg to them. That like Harrisburg to us was like going to the NHL draft. Like that's what it was,
Wow.
really, because that's like I mean that sale is like that's the big leagues for us as breeders. Like it was a thrill. Like I got to meet so many people. Like I mean when the big buyers like trainers like they come in like they give you lists and it's like I got a list from Tony Alonga and I was just like, oh my gosh, like this is real. Like some of like the very
Wow.
best in the game, like I got to talk to, and I was just like, wow, like this is so full circle. It was like the I made it moment, like for us, like in the breeding side. So it was very special and like I'm very, very blessed to have met the Twinbrook family. Like they've been incredible to me and like they're just they're amazing and they're so good at what they do. Like yeah,
That's
when I go to Twinbrook, it's like I'm going back home kind of thing. So it's
it's
yeah,
nice
it
to
was
have the connect.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
I love it.
it's
Like
fun.
those
Oh, carry on.
connections is just like that's what builds your network within the breeding, within like harness racing, within any of it. So it's just
Yeah,
it's so nice to, if it's getting out of PEI or getting out of Nova Scotia for, a couple days to see that experience, meet those new people,
yeah,
it's so worth it.
yeah. Like I mean, I've I've learned so much, and like to be able to bring that home to PEI and make it better here, like for myself and like for the buyers. Like it's just that's just that like you have to. I mean, you have to go to PEI and like you have to take the risk, and you have to be brave enough to take that risk, and shake off the homebody a
That,
little
that
bit.
yes. So are there any particular offsprings from like Proven Lover or Shadow that really have stood out to you with their racing career?
Well, Silverhill Shadow, I will say this. He has not like he hasn't been given a fair enough chance. I mean, we really like we've tried our best his first year to breed him to the best mares that we could get him to. Like we specifically purchased mares for him and um I mean, he only has four foals of racing age and all four of them got to the races. Like it's incredible and like one for example, this filly, oh, I I adored her. She was my pick of last year's crop actually. Ruthless Diva.
Yes.
She sold for 2,700 last year and like she took off. She's still a maiden, but she's knocking on the door and she's doing so well for her connections. And like I'm so proud of her and like it's just and like that her mom specifically I picked out for Shadow. So like to see that like work, it was a tap on the back. I did something right there.
Ab-
And um, so Proven Lover, he's he's had a tremendous styling career. Like those babies, they're so tough. And you when people buy Proven Lover, it's like you have a horse for life. Like they just grind and grind and grind. And one, for example, is Proven Desire. Like he's incredible. He's 12 years old now, and he has over 660,000 in lifetime earnings. He took a record of and 50 and 4 at the age of 9, and he just keeps going. Like, and he has a younger full brother who married Claire McDonald, broke and trained, Maximum Lovin'. When last year when he was 4, he then went to Northfield, the half mile racetrack, and he took a record of 150 and 4 there too. And it's just like it's insane. Like they just like I don't know how he does it. Like they just the thing that is with them, it seems like with the Lover babies, they've went on to show that they're tough enough to race up country and in the States. Like they just they just keep going. They've very much like proved that they can do it. Like his breed is tough enough to race with some of the best. So yeah.
Awesome. I love hearing the stories of like other offsprings that they've had besides like our newer crops, because it's what really drives, like for myself as a breeder or as a buyer. Like I love knowing that I can see that they make awesome racehorses, or they've
Yeah.
made good yearlings, or they've made good young horses, and it's like,
Hmm.
okay, that's what I'm looking for, because I want something
Yeah.
that has
Totally.
that in their background. So it's nice to hear the offsprings and how things are going, and it's just I really enjoy that.
Yeah, no, like he's and the thing that is with some studs, it's like some stallions, it's like the mares will be better than the colts, or like their colts are better than the fillies, right? But with him,
Right.
like everything, like it doesn't matter. And like I'll be brutally honest with you, I feel like a lot of it when you're breeding horses, you have to pay very close attention to the dam side. And like you have to keep like look back in the lines, like look back what the grand dam did and like the
Mhm.
siblings, like everything plays such a big role.
Absolutely. Yeah, like trying to match them up that works so they're not
Yeah.
crossed wrong, and like I I give you guys all credit in the world for doing that. I get excited to look at one stallion and be like, "Oh, I want to breed it," but then I look down the line, I'm like, I can't breed the So it's like those sitting
Yeah.
down, looking at everything, going through it all. It's very time consuming, and like your guys' work into that, it shows within
It's
the
a
breed.
it's yeah, and I mean like at my place, um I do all the matching. Like I study pedigrees. I look at like the top horses like right now, like what's working, like and like people, I don't know. Some people are like all about like, oh, like the best, like the newest, the hottest thing. Whereas like I like to look back at like to see what they have in the back, like, if they come from the old Western Hanover line or like with the Abercrombie, like I dig deep.
I I like, and I'm a big, you know, old bloodline
Yeah,
person. I Because it's
yeah,
the bloodline is what has brought these new ones. So it's kind
exactly. No, you're totally right.
of, yeah. So it's
Yeah, it's
I just think it's cool to pick. Like I picked for the one that we have on ground this year. I picked Al McNeil's brain, and I was like, listen, we have a Western Terrier mare. Like I really
yeah.
am interested in this one and this one, but then I look back and
Mhm.
see that our 3-year-old filly is by a trotting sire, and I'm like, I would love to get another
I know.
one of those.
That's insane. She's doing so well for you. Like that's That's wild. I remember when you told me back when that happened, and I was just kind of like, this will be interesting for her.
I know Faith like the background of like the breeding and stuff, and I'm like, I wonder what she thinks of this. And you always been, she's gonna be what she's gonna be, and she's gonna try. And I'm like, 100% she's
Yeah,
gonna try. She definitely has, and it's just so nice to see all kinds of different breedings and who
yeah,
everyone goes to, and to sit and talk to you about your own stallions is so interesting because you guys have your own breeding farm, so you breed your
yeah.
own mares. You don't go out all the time and put them
Mhm.
out there like, here, breed, 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 breed. So
Yeah,
it's really nice to sit back, talk to someone that goes through the lines, goes through, all the details from the daily care to all the, behind the book scenes and
yeah.
stuff, everything. So I want to say thank you for sitting down with me and talking about this, because it's just been really exciting. And like I said before, we haven't had somebody jump on and talk to us
Yeah.
about the breeding side. So for you to reach out and say, I'd love to do it, I'm like, bingo, love it, want to do it, because we talk to the drivers, talk to
Yeah.
the trainers, we talk to the people that are on scene, but we don't talk to the people possibly behind the scenes. And really,
Yeah.
breeders are behind the scenes, but really they make our industry, in my eyes.
Yeah, we definitely do. And I mean, for myself, like this past year, I've definitely jumped more back into the racing side of it as well. Like I'm doing both right now. I'm working full time for Ashley McDonald. So that's been a lot of fun. I worked for her all summer long, and like I've learned so much from her and her dad on the racing side. Um we took up my 3-year-old colt, Duke of the West, and now I have Plain Jane under our care as well. So it's
Awesome. She's
yeah.
always been a fun one to watch. She's always been tough, and she's always been like the one that's grinds and like just come nowheres and like shock you.
Yeah.
So she's one of ones I love to watch. So
Aw.
to be like a homebred for you, like
Yeah.
that's exciting as well. Like that's huge.
It yeah. It's it's been very full circle for her to be what she is, and for me, like when I took her home, it was just I I was so excited like to finally have her like with me. It was like I've been waiting for 6 years to like have the opportunity and be like in the right place in the right time to be able to take her and like do her myself, and alongside one of my best friends who's very successful in this game. It's been amazing, and like she's raising so well for us, and it's really showing that you put the work in, they're gonna show up for you, and like she's a mama's girl all day long.
I love that. Is amazing. Well,
Yeah.
thank you, Faith, for jumping on with me. I was gonna say we, but it's only me tonight. But thank you for jumping on and chatting with me about your stallions, the breeding side, your racing side, and everything. And I can't wait to see Plain Jane race again, and I can't wait to see you out and about, and can't wait for the yearling sale to see what you got as
Yeah.
well. So thank you a million times over for joining me and picking your
Oh,
brain.
no problem.
So yeah, that's episode 41, and I know in a little bit Justin and Bob and Scott are gonna be jumping on a call and talking about, I don't know what. I didn't even get the questions. I don't have a clue what they're going to be talking about, but I'm pretty sure with Justin and Scott, it'll be pretty interesting. So stay tuned, everybody, for when Bob and Scott and Justin go live. Thanks, Faith, and enjoy your guys' day.